Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy, and welcome to Office Hours Ask Me Anything, which I do every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. And looks like we are live on YouTube and hopefully on LinkedIn. You can ask me absolutely any question you have. You can put it in the chat room. I'm monitoring both chat rooms in my secret little world over here. Or if you'd like to ask a question anonymously because you don't want me yelling out your name and you want to complain about work, you can use deltacx.link/ask. This URL is also good 24 hours a day, and I just save up the questions for Tuesday, which means we already have 3 questions queued up and ready to go. But before I do that, a friend of mine suggested that first we hold a quick cheese minute to thank everybody who donates to the channel every month. Whether you are donating to the channel and supporting it through our subscriptions, or whether you're doing it through the super chat and super stickers or the tip jar, I can put that up. Thank you very much. I like to say that whatever money comes in, I am spending it on cheese. So I wanted to, my friend suggested the cheese minute. So what am I eating? Well, it might get green screened out, but I made a lovely tomato and mozzarella and basil thing with olive oil from some of the tomatoes in our garden and the basil in our garden and the mozzarella from the supermarket. So I will be finishing eating this during our show today. Hashtag sponsored by you. So thanks to everybody for all of the delicious treats. I greatly appreciate that. I won't blame my weight gain on you, of course. It's my fault. I take responsibility. Oh, hi, Shannon. Hi, Charlene. So as soon as I'm done with this and we finish the cheese minute, we'll get into our first 3 questions. Queue up your questions, and I'll get them on the list. Remember, you can ask your questions in the chat room or anonymously. Hey, Kayleen. I don't know why Kayleen is starting with meow. We're not going there. Come visit and eat cheese. Okay, you didn't see that. All right. Let's put on a show, everybody. Hey, Denise, how's your job going? Oh, my dog wants to lick the bowl, so hold on a second. Here you go. Oops. I did not put that down gracefully. Well, it's true. Kayleen does have 2 cats, so maybe she thinks she's talking to them. All right, peeps. If I have tomatoes in my teeth, let me know. But the first question that came in anonymously sounds like this. Any tips on ways to keep product design from immediately going off and making lots of design changes before you have a chance to finish compiling research insights? It always feels like as soon as I finish my last usability test session, design and product managers go off to make changes. By the time I want to even have a session to debrief, things are already being redone. Hi, Aitan. So to me, this is a problem with process. And planning. If there were better planning up front, then someone would say, research is going to use this amount of time for testing, this amount of time to analyze the testing and make recommendations, then you can start making changes here. Without that planning and process being in place, then it's almost like some sort of weird Olympic race where the moment you finish testing, you've handed the baton to someone else and they are just running. So I would say that this is something you should probably work with your manager about, because you might have to change how things are planned, change some process. If your company wants to be focused on being research informed, or as I like to say, business intelligence and risk mitigation, tune in tomorrow for more on that, then we absolutely have to make sure that planning is done ahead of time, which means you have to get better at estimating your time, more on that tomorrow, so that you can say, look, I need a week to run these tests, 2 days to analyze them, or whatever, 2 days to run the tests, a week to analyze them. Then y'all can run. So planning and process, speak to managers. That would be my suggestion. I hope that helps. If you are here live and you want to ask a follow-up question, please do. If you want to ask a follow-up question to someone else's question, you are absolutely welcome to. Kayleen says, I have a question about Nama's LinkedIn post that we commented on earlier. I guess you can ask that. He posted it, but I'll try to speak to it even though it wasn't my post. Okay, the next question that came in anonymously ahead of time sounds like this. I've been moving on from organizations for a better work environment for years, but I keep running into orgs that have no plan, no structure, nepotism hires with average to poor leaders, and don't fully support me for the job I was hired for. Is this just the way the industry is right now? What can I do to break this cycle and find a great fit for me? Yeah, unfortunately, it feels like this is quite common. This is a story I hear a lot, that a lot of organizations don't understand CX or UX. They don't make the right hires. They don't utilize us correctly. Person who wrote this, I would say maybe check out the show tomorrow. I'll be talking more about how to improve UX and CX in organizations that claim to want to be agile and lean. I sometimes think that that's going to be our way into better understanding. We can get in through the business by talking about business intelligence and risk mitigation, which I'll be covering tomorrow. And we get in with engineering and product and others by talking about how we can be more agile and lean. So I'll be covering those tomorrow. I hope that will help us improve our organizations, but where organizations are not improving, unfortunately, the person who asked the question, this does look very common for jobs right now. Too many people think that UX is a production design job where we just show up, make some pretty screens, put a blue button over here, maybe a green one here, who cares about the colorblind, and run with that. So what can you do to break the cycle? You didn't break it and you can't fix it. Hugs from Charlene, who says, I'm waiting for tomorrow's episode. Me too. Remember, tomorrow's episode runs around 2 hours. And so don't make coffee because you're going to need a pee break. But I'm going to go straight through. It's a long one. I have another like 70 slides. So it's going to be a long one, but it's important. So I don't think you can break the cycle because you didn't cause the cycle, but I do think that we can do a better job asking questions when we're interviewing. Ask, how do we use research here? And who are our researchers? Sometimes they have master's degrees or PhDs. As we heard from our first question, do designers and engineers wait for research results before we try to design something? So maybe it's certainly not your fault, but maybe asking some better questions during interviews will help you out. Charlene says, also, before making changes, it's good to see what are quick wins that'll take longer and need more development. Okay. Remember to keep the questions coming because right now I've only got one more. This one came in ahead of time and I accidentally erased it before I copy pasted it, but I remember it went something like this. I saw your video on Google's UX course. Yes, that was a winner. That was pretty good. Do you recommend NNG courses, Nielsen Norman Group? So Nielsen Norman Group courses, from what I understand, now I didn't take them, but I did send my boyfriend to them, so he can speak to the actual experience. But I can tell you that, as far as I can tell, he liked them. He had a good time. He passed the multiple choice test and he got a certificate, but it didn't really make him more qualified to do anything in particular. It's not like 5 days of Nielsen Norman Group training and whoa, you are now an amazing interaction designer. He's pretty talented to start with, and I was hoping that it would teach him some stuff, but you would definitely not go, it's not a boot camp replacement, it's not a university degree replacement, it's really 1 to 7 days of training, depending upon which Nielsen Norman event you go to. It's also bizarrely expensive. Excuse me, ran out of olive oil. It's bizarrely expensive, and so I would probably only recommend doing it if your workplace is going to pay for it and you didn't find something else that you would rather spend the workplace's professional development money on. I think between flights and hotels, because he did it in person, and the actual courses, I think it cost us over $7,000 American, which just for a couple of currency translations quickly, since I do keep a currency converter on my phone, that would be 6,000 euros, 8,700 Canadian, 100,000 South African rand, and about 5,000 British pounds. So Nielsen Norman Group is not a quick, inexpensive adventure. It is quite costly. Maybe now with remote options, you don't have to buy a flight and hotel rooms, but holy cats, it's still quite expensive. So be careful. Aitan says, I like NNG's articles, but yeah, I wouldn't spend that much for something that's not a degree program. True. All right, thanks for that question. And so I guess I would say NNG is nice to have, but it's really not going to tremendously upskill you. Aitan says, have you heard about or read the book About Face? One of the UX designers I follow on TikTok said it's a lifetime mentorship must read. I've got to admit, I don't make a lot of time to read books because I'm usually busy writing books, but I have heard some good things about that book. Charlene, I see a question from you, and Kayleen's question is first, so we will do them in that order. And anybody else who has questions, please do put them in the chat room. All questions are welcome. No questions are stupid. You can also ask questions through the anonymous system, deltacx.link/ask. All right, Kayleen says, so people hold meetings to make interface design choices. How is it possible that the product owner and the UX UI designer are there and the more senior UXer is not invited? That is a super question. And again, this was in reference to something you saw earlier on LinkedIn that you and I both saw. Now, I don't work for that guy's company, so I don't specifically know what happened there. But I can tell you what commonly happens at many companies that I have seen. Let's get, Marty is here, so we'll take a look at that in a moment. So hold on, let's put Kayleen's question up so we can have some visuals happening here. Kayleen's. Right. So what very often happens at many companies is a junior UX person, UX UI designer, junior product designer is put on a project alone. I know that a lot of people imagine, well, hey, it's a junior. They're going to need some mentoring and coaching and help and work reviews. But what happens at many companies is they bring in a junior. They assume that because you have some education and some experience, you can hit the ground running. And very often, nobody is resourced or allocated for you to mentor or coach you. You typically don't get support. So yes, in the example that we saw earlier today on LinkedIn, it is quite possible that a junior UXer of some sort is in a meeting with a product owner, and that's it. And there is no senior there. This is not escalated to someone higher. That's why so many jobs and companies are saying, we don't want to hire you for a junior job without 1 year of experience or 2 years of experience, because they know they're going to put you on a project alone. And they want to imagine that you can handle that. Kaylee says, oh no, it's exactly what I feared. Yeah. Unfortunately. And before Kayleen said, we have some things out of order here. To be honest, I wish I had a certificate to put on my LinkedIn profile. It feels like I would stand out to recruiters, but then it's time away from practicing new skills. I don't think you'd really stand out to recruiters because no recruiter is searching LinkedIn for NNG certificate. They're going to search more by skills and abilities, or maybe they hope you previously worked at a certain company. So I don't think that's going to help you. And Marty says, I dropped out of a boot camp and I got a refund because I left early, but it was such a scam. The learning content was all Medium articles and YouTube videos. And it's a popular one that costs $15,000 and it starts with an S. What starts with an S? I'm going to go with springboard. But that's just a guess. Charlene says, I'm glad I had an amazing mentor within the organization who helped and guided us. Yeah, that is not common. That's why I did that whole episode on what an apprenticeship program could look like, because I believe more companies have to create an apprenticeship program where we can take people who have some natural talent and some early knowledge of stuff and foster that, because otherwise, this is the world we live in. So let's take a look at Charlene's question. See if I can find it. Here we go. Oh, crying. Kayleen is sending us the crying. Yeah, lots of crying in UX. Charlene's question was, how do you deal when the other UX designer you work with in a team is more of an order taker and jumps directly into quick designing, but not really thinking things through? Well, again, this to me speaks to process and approach, but also who we've been hiring. And I think you might want to have a quiet conversation with your manager and say, look, I don't want this person to be fired, but I do think in the future we might want to check for the order taker personality versus the low ego action hero personality. I do talk about this in my HR training, which you all know is completely free, and it's at deltacx.link/HR training. And basically, I talk about what I call short order cooks versus interface scientists, and that we have to be careful which one we want and which ones we're hiring. Because if you want a problem finder and problem solver, you don't want the short order cook. And if you want the short order cook and the production designer and the order taker, you don't want to hire me. I'm not going to be happy there. So I think, Charlene, there's not a lot that you can do right now. This person is there, but I would work with your manager to see, can you put more process in place that would guide this person through waiting for research data or waiting for whatever you hope that we would be waiting for? Because I'm getting the feeling, even though you didn't say, that we're waiting for something. And this person is just going, nope, I'm going to come up with a solution. I've got solutions. And so it sounds like we need to have a clearer process in place that says, first we wait for the researchers to give us this. Then we utilize that information by looking for these things or these clues or these opportunities. And then we come up with our early concept or our first pass or our medium fidelity or whatever you do. But you might need for that process to be spelled out. And I would just go to a manager and say, look, I'm not looking for this person to be fired or reprimanded in any way, but I'm concerned that they're jumping too quickly into just come up with a solution that'll make product managers and engineers happy, and I'm worried we're not being the problem finders and solvers that we should be. So you can try that. I am all out of questions. So, oh my gosh, last week we had so many questions. Kayleen thought she had to apply for a job to help me field them. And today we are out of questions. So if anybody has any questions, of course, you can send them through deltacx.link/ask, or you can also put them right here in the chat room. I am monitoring the LinkedIn chat and the YouTube chat. And what else can I tell you other than mark your calendars for tomorrow? It's going to be a marathon episode, but it's going to be about how we can make UX more agile and more lean. Charlene says, thank you. I say you're welcome. Kayleen says, question coming. Okay, I'm not going anywhere yet. I'm here for you for another 40 minutes. Definitely mark your calendars for tomorrow. Episode 116 tomorrow is technically the second half of episode 115 because I wrote 4 hours of content and I broke it into 2 shows. So please join for how we can make UX more agile and more lean. And I'll be talking about how we can appeal more to the business, how we can speak the business's language more and speak engineering's language more, but hopefully win some of the autonomy that we are looking for. So Aitan says, may I know exactly what you mean when you say agile UX? First of all, I am definitely not saying agile UX because that is not a phrase that I use. That is a phrase that other people are using. I am calling it customer-centric agile. So that would be what I'm saying. So I am saying that UX CX, us, that there are principles and foundational elements of the agile engineering methodology that we can use in the work that we do. And how can we fit into the agile world that's at many of our workplaces? I have a smiley face from Kayleen. And also lean. So I'm not going to be presenting agile UX because there kind of isn't agile UX. And I'll be talking about that tomorrow because I'm going to be talking about how agile is for engineers. And we're not engineers. And so there's only so agile we have to be, but there are some good core principles in agile that we can adopt, and that will hopefully help us be better collaborators with our non-CX and non-UX teammates. So there you go. Kayleen's got a question, and so does Marty, who I think is new here. I don't recognize your name. Do we know you, Marty? Do we know you under another name? I sometimes don't recognize people's YouTube handles. Okay, so I'm copying and pasting all of your questions because these end up in the description in the YouTube archive. Everything is always archived on YouTube. These will be in the playlist that says Office Hours, Ask Me Anything. So here we go. We've got a Kayleen question. And it says, how do you navigate critiquing coworkers? A casual conversation? A meeting? If the coworker finds out that you went above them, I can see that decreasing trust. Yes, obviously in the case of Charlene's story, you want to make sure that when you work with the manager on a better process to try to help rein in the coworker, that nobody says to the coworker, Charlene went to the manager and the manager, now they might figure it out. It is a little bit tough, but you have to decide which one you want to run with, whether your job is just going to be an evil hell or if you actually say something. And I think we should actually say something a little bit more. You can start by talking directly to this coworker before you go to the manager. You can say, hey, look, we're here to solve problems, yes, but we've got to understand the problem before we jump into solutions. So is there any chance that before you just start designing stuff, we can wait for what research is working on? And maybe they'll say, oh, yeah, okay, I just thought blah, blah, blah. So yeah, Charlene, maybe start with talking to them directly. And if that doesn't work, maybe talk to the manager. So Kayleen, how do you critique coworkers? Normally, I don't do too much critiquing of coworkers unless they ask for it. If someone says, hey, I'm working on this plan, let me send it to you. And I'll say, okay. Or, hey, let me show you this thing I'm doing. Okay. Now, normally I'm going to ask people, do you want the tough love? Because typically I'm not just a cheerleader going, yay, your plan is fantastic. All of your work is great. Oh my God. I'm usually given the tough love and I'm saying, look, if you're asking me for my feedback, I want to make this better. And these are some of my ideas and take them or leave them. So sometimes I will check with people like, are you hoping to just hear supportive words or are you hoping to get real feedback on it? And sometimes they'll go, oh, yeah. And if they just want supportive words, sometimes I go, I'm not the right person for that. I support you, but I'm going to look at this critically, critical thinking. And if I see something I think can be improved or something that could be done better, I am going to say something. So make sure you want that. So there you go. Kayleen says, request for San Francisco accent. There is no San Francisco accent, so I don't do one. We have a question for what is the Slack link? It is deltacx.link/join Slack. It is completely free. We do not charge for memberships in this world. That's for other pseudo gurus. Okay, so Marty also asks, welcome Marty. What is the best way to get into UX? Is a boot camp not the best way to get into the field? The boot camp is not the best way to get into a field because unfortunately a boot camp is shooting for speed over quality. A boot camp says, how fast can we teach you the least amount of things at the most surface level and then pretend that's going to get you a job? But we were just saying earlier, were we not, that there are people in junior UX jobs or UX UI jobs and they are put on projects alone. And the reason why it it is so hard to get a job in UX is because companies know they're putting juniors on jobs alone, and they know that if you only have a boot camp education and have not leveled up beyond that, you're probably not ready to be put on something alone. And even your school knows that. Very often your boot camp school will say something like, well, after this, you should practice more. You should freelance. You should do volunteer work. You should, they're telling you they didn't teach you enough for you to get a job. And my thought is, why pay 10 cents or squillions of dollars for a program that's not going to make you job ready when their whole promise is we're going to make you job ready? You have one job. Make this person job ready. If they're not job ready after your boot camp, what's the point? Save the money, save the time. So typically I've been telling people that I do believe in some self-study to gain foundational knowledge. Read books on cognitive psychology, read books on information architecture. If you're into research, look into, of course, research. Here we do support Michelle Ronson's Curiosity Tank courses, hashtag not sponsored. She does not pay for that. We are just supportive of her courses because they're pretty good. That's curiositytank.com. She does courses on research. So if you're looking to level up in research, that's a good way to go. But I don't know of a lot of great courses right now. That is part of the mandate of Don Norman's group, futureofdesigneducation.org. And luckily, gratefully, I am on the committee of people who will be coming up with what we believe should be the standards for non-degree education. So people who are not going the university route and want to go more of a boot camp route, what should those boot camps teach? How long should they be? So I'd say give us a little bit of time. We're going to start working on that in a week or so, but I don't have a great alternative for you other than some self-study, finding some practice projects, and working with a mentor or coach who can review your work. Same reason why you took piano lessons and karate lessons, because you wanted someone to listen to your piano playing and go, oh, wait, you can do this better. Or wait, there's a different technique you should use here. So be careful of that stuff. There you go. So I'm caught up again. Wow, we had so many questions last week. We were crazy. Kayleen says, my strategy is to treat Deb's YouTube channel like my class. That is true. We do try to teach a lot of things here. You can go into the playlist that says micro lessons. Those are things that I've taught. And since the Slack channel requested it, I just booked a bunch more for August. So we'll be doing micro lessons on all kinds of things, mostly research-based. I think someone asked for, how to write a screener survey. Someone asked for how to code research data, and there was another one that we just booked. And I've reached out to a quantitative UX researcher, because Chang asked for it, to see if they'll come and talk about what the heck they do. Aitan says, do you offer mentoring or coaching? Let's put that on the question list. And the answer is yes, I do. I do one session for free, so you can see if you like talking to me, deltacx.link/coaching. Anybody can sign up for one free session just for us to learn about your goals and see if you actually like talking to me, because maybe you won't. Oh, you asked for storytelling. That's right. I didn't get that one yet. I wanted to ask Michelle Ronson about it. So storytelling in UXer. I will ask her about coming in on that one. Thank you. Oh, remote usability testing. Yes, I set that up for a micro lesson on how I do remote usability testing. I do offer mentoring and coaching. The first one is free. If you book time with me after that, I do charge 50 American dollars per half hour, but there's no minimum and no maximum, and we can work on anything you want. I do have some coaching clients who are in boot camps or self-studying, and they're working on a fake or real project, and I work with them in some cases every step of the way to make sure they're not getting too far into their project before they do something disastrous. And Aitan also asks, do you have any suggestions on who we should follow? Certainly a lot of good information comes from Darren Hood, who also appears on the channel once a month. So look up Darren Hood and The World of UX, which is his podcast. I think he also has a YouTube channel that he calls UX Uncensored. So he's a good person to also check out and follow. Dr. Nick's been putting up more stuff. I think on YouTube he's UX Psychology. Look for him there. That might be an option as well. But otherwise, in general, I recommend people get mentoring and coaching. I would say just go to the people you like and you trust and ask them if they do mentoring or coaching. To me, they are the same thing, other than I see mentoring as free and coaching as paid. Free piano lessons versus paid piano lessons. So, but to me, they are the same. Aitan says, ocean of thanks. You're welcome. Waves of your welcomeness. So I'm caught up again. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. You're welcome to ask any questions you like. Don't forget to usability test the subscribe button here on YouTube, empathize with the like button, and when the stream ends, leave some comments so that it helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Or if you're watching this later, leave some comments. It helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Tip jar is optional, as are super chats and super stickers. And oh yeah, I forgot to fix the what do you call them? The new emotes, the new emojis. I added some new emojis. They're probably there maybe for the subscribers, but I don't think they were coming. They're coming up in YouTube, but not on the screen. I've got to fix that. To be continued. Maybe I'll open up another window and somebody can put up a new emoji and I'll try to make it work. But, of course, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I'm happy to take any question in the chat rooms or anonymously. Thank you for the comment left on the video already. That was fast. Thank you. That was Irena who asked. Oh, for that thing? For the remote usability testing? Ah, okay, thanks. Uh-oh, I'm in a loop in Chrome. I can't get... Oh, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Oh, God. I'm bad at this. Okay, I will try to get the new emoji working if anybody wants to try to send one up. Kayleen says, how are you doing? I think I'm okay. Thanks for asking. Nothing too new here. We're going to try to start learning more about how I can get the vaccine, but unfortunately that starts with getting a new doctor because my doctor is not great. I don't have to worry about him watching. He doesn't speak English. Okay, so Leia showed up. Low Ego Action Hero showed up, but not the new triangle or the brain. Leia brain, Leia triangle. All right, let me see. What do I have them in as? Emoji settings. This is really complicated, by the way. Custom emoji. Oh, I put dashes. Let's see if that changes it. Leia triangle, right? That's what it said. Let me see. Leia triangle and Leia brain. All right, let's try that. Okay, let's refresh, which usually sets off all the emoji you've sent so far. All right, we can try that again. Charlene says, we got this. I'm after Debbie to get accessibility testing. Okay, let me write that down too. I need to find somebody with more expertise in that. Accessibility testing. All right, let me work on that. Thank you for writing those. Maybe, do you need a space between them? I'm seeing them without a space between them. I don't know if that's good. Oh, yeah, they're working. Yay! New emoji for subscribers. Yay! Thank you, Charlene, for helping to usability test that. Yeah. Cool. What else? Any other questions for today's adventure? Don't forget, tomorrow is the big day where we're going to really talk about the things and try to make our jobs better. And I'm going to throw some curveballs at you that you might not be expecting me to say, but then I'm going to say it, and then you're going to go, yeah, Deb, yeah, it makes sense that Deb said that. So tomorrow, many curveballs will be thrown at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, where we're going to be talking about bringing in concepts of agile and lean into UX, but also bringing back our power and autonomy and trying to get that seat at the table at companies who kind of don't get what we do. Then, of course, Friday reaction stream. Next week, we've got Monday the 12th will be Michelle Ronson talking about convincing people on the value of research. So let's see what she says. Tuesday, office hours, ask us anything. It'll be Darren and Dr. Nick here next Tuesday along with me. And Wednesday the 14th will be Slack monthly networking. So we've got a LinkedIn event for that. In the Slack channel, we've got an invitation for people to do video networking. I am not sure if I'm coming because one of our very own friends of the show is coming to visit me in Italy for 10 days. So I'm going to be a little focused on her. And maybe we'll have her lean in and wave hello if it is safe. So neither of us are vaccinated, so we're taking a chance on this one. But it will be nice to have her here, friend of the show. And of course, Friday reaction stream. Monday the 19th, Stephanie Walter will be back to talk about enterprise UX. Tuesday the 20th, we'll be doing double office hours. And Friday reaction stream, and we'll just talk about the rest of July. Monday the 26th, we are doing content design. That reminds me, the second person never replied. So let's see if she wants to be on the show too, or just the one person. We got one yes and one I'm going on vacation. So we're hoping to have people talk about content design, content strategy, and UX writing. That will be July 26th, unless we need to change it for person number 2. Tuesday the 27th, office hours. Wednesday the 28th is Vivian Castillo, who's going to talk about healing conversations. So very excited about having her on the show. Friday the 30th, reaction stream. And right now I'm mostly filling August with some micro lessons, but we are going to have special guests as well. Daniel Engelberg will be back. Micro lessons. What? Oh, is Vivian in August or in July? No, I've got the wrong date on that. She's July. Oops, my calendar is a mess. What day did I say that was? Wednesday the 28th. Okay, I got to fix that. 28. July is Vivian. I will fix that in the calendar next. For those of you checking the calendar is deltacx.link/events. You can always find what we're doing. Hey, Don Norman emoji. It works. Who set it off? I don't even see who set it off. Charlene says, I saw someone reviewed a UI portfolio on LinkedIn saying it's amazing, but I don't find it at all accessible or easy to go through or understand what are the projects. I don't want to share it to the whole public, but would like you to review it. Maybe put it in the Slack channel so we're not broadcasting it on YouTube and making this person feel over-scrutinized on a YouTube video they might stumble on later. Maybe put it in the Slack channel under portfolios and resumes. But again, if it is a UI portfolio, I'm only going to judge it as a UI portfolio. I'm not going to judge it for anything they did in UX or CX. So there you go. iTown says, oh, any really good UXR or UXD portfolios available online that you'd recommend to check as a good example, or case studies? Sadly, not that many. I see a lot more poopy portfolios than I see great portfolios. I am very sorry. At some point, I will have to do there's a couple of people whose portfolios I saw that I thought were not bad, and they thought that was high compliment from me, high praise. So we might have to look at those at some point. So let me make a note. Great portfolios. We did a podcast last year. It was episode 18, and it was about the best portfolio I'd ever seen, but the guy since took it down. So you can at least see it in the episode since I share my screen, but unfortunately it's now offline, which I find sad and confusing. And that's quite unfortunate. So there you go. Gotta fix my calendar. What have I done? Podcast. I gotta double check dates. All right. 18 August or 28 July. Where did we put Vivian? Hey, this is Office Hours. Ask me anything. I'm waiting for your questions. Usually I'm overwhelmed with questions and can barely get through them all in an hour. But it looks like today maybe we're in slow motion after the long weekend America had and people are out barbecuing and whatever. Charlene says, I need to redo my portfolio. Maybe it's going to take a year to do that. I hate portfolios. I think if you break it up into smaller pieces, if you say I have to redo my whole portfolio, it's so demotivating. I think you have to give yourself small wins. Like, I'm just going to update one project. And my goal to update one project is the end of July, and then freaking do it. And if you can give yourself these small wins, eventually you'll redo your whole portfolio. But when you look at it and go, oh God, I have to redo everything, totally demotivating. Kayleen says, I don't know what IA research looks like after generative research has been completed. Okay, I think that is a question. Hold on, let me copy and paste that into the list. What IA research looks like, as in how do you plan the research and choose the methodology? I'll speak to that a little bit now, but it also sounds like a possible whole episode on itself. A lot of IA research tends to be card sorts and tree tests. And we did some card sorting and I think tree testing in the micro lesson on information architecture. So if you haven't seen that episode, it's not the information architecture episode with Abby Covert, it's in the micro lessons playlist. And basically, what normally happens is you're thinking that you need to understand better people's approaches or mental models around the organization of things. Where do they associate pieces of information or aspects of our site or tasks they can perform? How do they group these and how do they organize these? Sometimes it's because we need to redo the navigation of a website or a system, and sometimes it's for some other category organizational taxonomy reason. So what typically happens is people do a card sort before as part of their research to learn how people would group or organize things. And then once they have a new taxonomy or hierarchy or organization in mind, then they use something like a tree test or sometimes a first click test to test that idea before it's designed into a site or a system, before it goes live. We don't A/B test these things. So I would say check out the micro lesson on information architecture to see a little bit of that in flight. And Solomon was just watching it and commented on it, I think, this morning. So I was like, whoa, that's a blast from the past. I did that episode a year ago. So how do you plan and choose the methodology? IA, as far as I know, doesn't have a squillion methods associated with it. These are the two most common methods that you'll use. If I'm trying to research or test something that isn't about hierarchies, taxonomies, or organization, then it might not be a card sort. It might just be some other sort of research that can be done through observation or through interviewing. Last year, I did a card sort and I actually did it moderated and unmoderated at the same time. 52 people did the unmoderated version, and then we did 12 people moderated, where we watched them organize things, and then we could ask them why they made those groupings or associations and learn more qualitatively why people tended to make those decisions and how they perceived these groupings. So even though they're commonly done unmoderated, I found that if you have the time and budget, doing them moderated really adds a lot of color to the business intelligence. Charlene says, oh, question on portfolio case studies. There are times when the projects I worked on aren't worth putting on the portfolio, but then when I go for an interview, they ask, what's my latest project? Yeah, so that depends. If the project really is not worth putting in a portfolio and it was kind of sad, normally I will just tell people, my latest project was about this, this, and this, but it really wasn't my strongest project, or it's not really the project that best showcases what I can do. Then just redirect the conversation. And so give them the 2-sentence version of the latest project and then go, here's one that I think is better to talk about because it really showcases what I can do. So feel free to take over the conversation like that. Kayleen says, before you execute an IA research project, you have to decide what should be built. Is that right? No, not necessarily. You just have to figure out what you're trying to organize or what needs reorganization or what we're questioning. And then, of course, we go through the typical planning, recruiting, executing. And if it's moderated, you might watch your videos later. If it's unmoderated for card sorting and tree testing, you're usually just collecting aggregated or individual data from something like Optimal Workshop, #not sponsored. So there you go. Kayleen says, is the price the only advantage of an unmoderated card sort? Yeah, the price is an advantage on the unmoderated card sort. For example, Optimal Workshop charges 99 American dollars for you to run one. But the other advantage is sometimes the amount of people who can then respond to it. So while you might only want to observe 6 or 8 people doing the card sort, depending upon your groups, you could have 50 people do the unmoderated one. There's no limit. Optimal Workshop's not charging you per person. They do suggest that for an unmoderated one that you get at least 30 responses to have statistical significance. The one we did, we got 52. So we were pretty happy with that. We thought that was significant enough. But again, it was not as strong without the color I was able to add from the people I was able to watch and speak to. So yes, so price and is generally the advantage, and also the number of people who can respond to it, because you're not going to watch 52 people do it and interview 52 people. Probably not worth it. So for your other question, before you execute an IA research project, you have to decide what it is that should be built. Not necessarily. Sometimes I'm just working from a content strategist's blocks of content, or we think we're going to have these different pages on the site. How will we make the navigation? Or we think we have, the one I did last year was we were showing people a very long web page where people could fill out a form with a lot of different fields, and not everybody wanted to fill out the whole form. It wasn't relevant to their task. Some fields were and some fields weren't. So we thought if we did the card sort, we could see which fields were relevant, which fields were important. So like we gave people a bucket in the card sort that let them throw away the field. I never fill this out. I hate that it's on the form. I don't want to see it. So we had people throw away fields that they didn't want to see on the form, and then we had them categorize and group and order the rest. But we just had to know in general what fields or information or content or pages exist, and then the card sort shows us how people logically group them so that we can make a taxonomy that makes sense. Linda is here. Good to see you, Linda. Let's copy and paste your question for the YouTube description, and let's put it on the screen. Linda says, how would you prioritize criteria, for example, which UX tools to convince management to pay for, since we can't get everything we would like? So I would probably prioritize by what takes the most work off my plate. So for example, if you really, really love, let's say, Dovetail, #not sponsored, Dovetail isn't cheap, but if it's going to take a lot of work off your plate because it has this capability and this capability and this capability, and also look at the savings, what's it going to replace? Well, if we paid for Dovetail, which is kind of expensive, we can stop paying for this guy, or we can stop burying everything in spreadsheets, or we can stop, wasting our time editing videos for montages. That's money saved for the company. So I would say try to put together a cost-benefit analysis for the tools that you believe will save the company money, either by no longer paying for certain tools or because of the time you'll save. Hey, I'm going to save 3 hours a week because of this system. I'm going to save 10 hours per project because of this system. I'm being paid X. This might pay for itself, or this might be worth it for that savings, or this savings across multiple researchers, etc. So I would say you're just a little cost benefit analysis, even if some of it is a little bit more anecdotal or estimated, will hopefully convince people of the good software to buy and the benefits that it will bring. And since you can't get everything, I would just go for what's going to make you what's the worst part of your job, the thing you dread the most, and is there a tool that can handle that for you? And that's probably the software to make sure you get. And hopefully I will be that software later this year. I'm still hoping we will release our SaaS for researchers, but it is still being interaction designed. So fingers crossed that you will pick us when we exist. So we still have 10 more minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions that might come in. I haven't seen any come in through the anonymous link, deltacx.link/ask. So let me know if you've got any questions there. Happy to take any questions. And other than that, my hands are terribly cracking and peeling. I'm trying to put some cream on them, but I'm out of cream. And it's an American cream that I don't think I can get here. But I've got a little bit left. Kayleen says, ooh, anything to report about the new job thing? I think Kayleen is asking me about the new job I am at. So in addition to all the Delta CX work that I do, and of course the Delta CX consulting firm that I run, I am now the head of experience design at another CX consulting firm. So that's very exciting. And I am not quite through the first week. I started on Thursday, so today was day 4. But it's going really well. The company obviously has some ups and downs that it is experiencing, and I'm diving into these and I'm learning about it. I wrote a discussion guide. I am interviewing people, and I am taking monster notes straight into Miro as little flags, as little notes. And hopefully next week I will come up with a plan for the executives based on what I'm hearing and what I think my priorities are to work on or solve. So I would say it's only day 4, but I think the job is going well. Everybody seems super, super lovely, nice, talented people, which is a great place to work already. But hopefully I will be in a position, which I think I am, to effect a lot of change, and hopefully quickly, because there are definitely some things we need to improve. So I would say new job is 4 days old, but I think it's going well so far. And I think one of my coworkers was here in the audience. So if you're still here, you can say, how's it going? But it's only day 4. So there you go. Do not know. Let's see. There's a message on the channel. Oh no. Irena posted her cell phone app. Boo. Did everybody see that in the Slack channel today? My cell phone app screenshots, where you couldn't even tell if it was data I've used or data I have left. Boo. 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 That's where I can tell that they didn't have any UX people on the team, and it was probably done by developers or a product manager, especially the other screen I showed where there was no button for the login. The login was username, password, no button. There's no UX person, even the person who went to the worst boot camp on the planet, would know that at the end of a login screen, you put a button for logging in. It's probably developers who go, yeah, everybody types their password and then hits return. Hi, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything, and I'll be here a few more minutes taking questions. Don't forget that you can subscribe here on YouTube, leave some nice comments to help us out with the algorithm, and subscribe if you're not already. And of course, the tip jar is optional, and it funds Delicious Cheese, which is where we started today's broadcast. And also, quick note, if you like what you see here, won't you please share it with everybody? I have a goal of, by the end of the year, having 3,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, but really for no good reason other than it's a nice sounding number. So we're at 2,200 now, which means I would love to get 800 more subscribers by the end of the year. And so please tell some UX and CX loving friends about the adventures here at the Delta CX channel. And someone just left a comment, and it was on episode 112. Thank you to that person for leaving a comment. Kayleen says, ha, 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 ha. To what? I missed it. Ha, 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 to delicious cheese, maybe. So any other thoughts from any of you? Any other thoughts, questions, concerns, anything going on at your jobs that you want to talk about? You can still send it anonymously, and I won't yell out your name and go, you're having a terrible time at your job. So all questions are welcome. Remember, deltacx.link/ask is available 24 hours a day. If you do have a question, you can send it in ahead of time, and I will just put it at the top of the list for the next Tuesday broadcast. Wow, this week is much quieter compared to previous, but it's still good to see the core group here. And Linda, I hope your job's going well. You don't have to say, because I'm saying this out loud. You can send me a Slack message, tell me how it's going. Oh, Linda, I was thinking of you the other day because Instagram sent me an ad like, come see the best operas. And it was like, come see our evening with Placido Domingo, and come see, as usual, Cavalleria Rusticana done with Pagliacci. And I was like, yeah, so this stream sounds wonderful. And I actually pressed on the Instagram ad, and it was like, live opera in Verona, Italy. And I was like, in a pandemic, I am not flying anywhere right now, and I'm definitely not going to an opera house or even I don't even know if it's indoors or outdoors. I am not doing that. But Linda made me think of you. First, I was like, yes, I'm going to tell Linda I'm watching opera streams. And then I was like, no, I'm not flying to Verona and doing that. Nope. Not this year, maybe next year. I'm still working on finding a better doctor so I can work on a plan to possibly get vaccinated, and it's just going in slow motion. So Charlene says, ha ha ha, I have to go to work twice a week now. No, that's not ha ha ha. That's scary crap. I'm sorry about that. I really wish more companies were doing the remote worked for 18 months, keep doing remote things, because there's a Delta variant and y'all should kind of stay away from each other. Do not know. Crying emoji for sure. What can I tell you? So yeah, I think that's it. We can probably wind down if nobody has any questions or comments to add. I hope everybody in the Northern Hemisphere is staying cool and the Southern Hemisphere is keeping warm. Oh, excuse me. I am sleepy. I've got earlier days now with my new job. And I've been going to bed early and then accidentally waking up way early. Like, my alarm is set for 7:30 and I'm waking up at 6. You know when that happens and you're like, oh God, no, I didn't have to get up yet. No. Charlene says, it did not look like we were in the middle of a pandemic. So many people on public transport. In the UK, which has the Delta variant, I agree with your poop emoji. Holy cats, that is not gonna end well unless you have a huge number of people vaccinated, and even then they might still get mild versions of COVID, so boo. Kayleen says, I'm incapable of sleeping in too. Yeah, I'm not good at sleeping in. I'm a morning person, but I didn't mean to be a 6 a.m. person, but now I am. So there you go. Good night. I have a small tan, everybody. You can't see it with my bright lights. Well, I hope everybody will stay safe, wear your masks, and I think that's mostly it for today, but I will see everybody tomorrow for the marathon session. Yay! We're going to learn all the things and we're going to fix our jobs, right? Yay! I hope. Oh, can I roll right into bed? No, I should go water the garden. Oz says tomorrow. I know, Oz, I'm planning a big show for tomorrow. It's going to be 2 hours long, and I'm doing like 70 of my new PowerPoint slides. And Oz, I was thinking of you because I finished the last unit of my MBA, and we did finance, and we learned how to do NPV and IRR and other stuff in Excel. And then when I see Excel, I think of Oz, and so should all y'all. If you want to learn Excel, you want to check out Oz's channel on YouTube, Excel on Fire. Not only is he amazing at teaching you Excel, but he's just a fantastic person and smart and funny and keeps those videos interesting. So you want to check him out. Hashtag not sponsored. He's just a friend that I like and trust. And I send him all of my Excel woes, and he's very helpful. Thank you. I owe him a nice dinner out someday when it's safe. So we are winding up, and I will play us out of here, but I will see everybody tomorrow, same usual time, for an extended 2-hour stream on some new content that I've written. A couple of slides will look familiar if you hang around the channel a lot, but many of the slides are new, and I'm hoping that they will help us fix and improve our jobs and what's going on at our workplaces. Luckily, not my current workplace. This is not our biggest problem, but because I'm in a consultancy, but for many people, these are the problems, and we need to fix them. So thanks for hanging out for office hours, everybody. Good to see the usual gang, and I will catch everybody tomorrow. Be safe. Bye.
Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation